What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 45 of my reviewing and ranking guitar solos of Frank Zappa within the context of albums. Currently getting all those one solo albums out of the way before we got a lot of big box sets looming in the near future. I'm a little intimidated. But this is Orchestral Favorites. Came out in 79, was recorded over a couple nights back in 75. A mostly orchestral album, hence the name Orchestral Favorites. But there is one guitar solo that Frank drops, an overdubbed guitar solo, because as Frank says, I think it's actually in the liner notes. You can't really get the kind of feedback and sound and everything he wanted in a live context, so he had to record it in the studio and drop it in there. Drops in the Duke of Prunes, great version of Duke of Prunes. Song's 4 minutes and 20 seconds long, for those of you who keep track of those type of things. And the solo is very much, it almost sounds like you could have xenocronized the Filthy Habit solo and dropped it in here. It is a very feedback laden, that kind of biting, heavy sound that Filthy Habits has. It is very much of that leather, studio tan, not made studio tan, sleep dirt type of guitar vibe with just that lot of really good feedback. It just sounds like sonically the way the guitar sounds. I just love the absolute sound of the guitar in this. But I just did Cruisin' with Ruben and the Jets, and there's one solo on that. It's on the last song. The song's already depressing enough lyric-wise. The guitar solo definitely adds the right amount of flavor, ends the entire album on what is a pretty good mid to late 60s Zappa guitar solo. Kind of has that kind of bouncy, groovy vibe that Zappa had in that era. This one is definitely a feedback laden mid to late 70 era type vibe. But I thought it worked on the Cruisin' with Ruben and the Jets. And I actually argued in that video that I wish Frank had made a single album, not spread it out conceptually over like his entire Mother's career, a single album of 50s doo-wop material, that the songs themselves were true to form, much like the Ruben and the Jets material is, but there were solos in it, closing, opening, in the middle, between verses, whatever, just to really, I don't know, redefine doo-wop music, and to say that you could have a full band doing doo-wop music. Don't weirdify it. Don't Frankify it. Don't like do what you did to You Didn't Try to Call Me in the 80s, or even with Bianca, and like, slow it down, draw it out. Stick with your like doo-wop energy. Just drop solos in there. Drop horn solos. Drop guitar solos. Let the keyboardist do a solo. And I think that was a missed opportunity. I think he could have maybe made a couple really quality doo-wop albums. Obviously, I didn't want him to go in that direction all the time, but maybe one or two throughout his career. Hey, we're going back to doo-wop and there's some more good guitar solos. I think it would have worked. I don't think it's needed with his classical stuff. I like his classical stuff. I like this album. I really love the 40th anniversary release of this album. But I don't think the guitar solo is needed. I enjoy it. It's a nice atmosphere. The sort of Filthy Habits, feedback-laden vibe that infuses the middle of Duke of Prunes works. It's about 2 minutes long. Starts, about a minute 30 in, ends about 2 minutes later. It doesn't really feel like a narrative solo as much as it is like Frank's just going to enter in this classical world, this orchestral world with his guitar and spend 2 minutes making guitar noises and do feedback and just bring that sort of six-string energy that is completely different from an orchestra energy. And I think it's a neat idea. I think the concept works, but it's not really a solo. It just feels like, hey, let's just fill the space with guitar energy for 2 minutes. It's good energy. It sounds good. But I don't think it's needed. I think the rest of this stuff is so fantastic. I think this album is fantastic. I've reviewed it elsewhere. It works for me. The box set works for me. I really enjoy all of it. And while I do like the solo, I'm not going to say I don't like it. I don't think it was needed. I just don't think it adds something to this album in the same way the solo on Cruisin' with Ruben and the Jets adds something to that album. So yeah, that's all I got. I got nothing more to say about this album. There's one solo. That's what it is. It's in Duke of Prunes. Sounds like Filthy Habits. lot of feedback. It's not performed live. It was overdubbed. The band's doing really interesting things, the rhythm section especially in the background while the solo's being dropped. So it doesn't hurt the album in any way. It actually is kind of enjoyable, but just looking at it as a standalone solo, I don't think as a solo it's interesting, but I don't think it's anything definitive. I think it's more textural. I think it more provides texture to this 4 minute and 20 second song than it does anything else. But yeah, and I don't think it's as essential as, say, the solo on Cruising with Ruben and Jets. So yeah, so it can be a short video, people. Where would I rank this album among all the others? It falls all the way back there to number 40. Like, when I think of Zappa 88, the last US show, which is at 39, like part of my reason to go there is there are a couple good solos on that album. And like those solos provide some of the better moments on that because I'm not the strongest fan of that show. The set list and some of the set list stuff I don't want to hear over and over again. But the solos do draw me to that. Halloween 73, at least it's got a Montana in there, so I'm drawn to that. The Dupree's Paradise, right? Zoot Allures has a couple great things. But I'm not in any way wanting to listen to orchestral favorites because of the solo. Like, it's there, I enjoy it, but I really like the classical stuff. I really like the orchestral stuff. I don't need the solo. So I'm putting it back at 40. Solo's still better than almost anything from the Roxy era, which for some reason is surprisingly just not that interesting somehow. But yeah, I'm dropping it all the way back to 40 at this point. So yeah. Anyways, that's all I got. Not much. One solo. Yeah, that's it. I got. What's your favorite solo from this album? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Like, is there a world where, see, and this was already done. That's why Frank didn't need to do it. You had hard rock bands and heavy metal bands incorporating orchestra and, symphonies into their music. It's been done. Frank didn't need to do it. Would these pieces Frank had done throughout the years be more interesting if there were solo sections, if he sort of had like this meshing of classical with just these sort of jazz things in the middle? No, I don't think they would. I don't think it's needed. I think it makes the classical stuff seem less important, where I think it actually adds flavor to the doo-wop stuff. So anyways, yeah, I'm just ranting now so I can make this at least like 8 minutes, which it is right now. If I wrap this up now and tell you to subscribe, share, comment, go listen to orchestral favorites, you don't have to listen to the solo, just listen to the album and then get to the solo. It's all fantastic. I've now reached the 8 minute mark, which I'm proud to have done. So thanks for watching. Just for my own personal, let's make an 8 minute video. All right, I'm done. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this album, this solo, all this stuff. You know how comments work, people. Thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.